How are you guys doing today? Hello, everybody.
Hey.
Hello.
It's Big J here with Alexander, Cheeto, and JP. We've got another edition of Axanar After Dark tonight. So,
After dark.
Yes. How are you gentlemen doing tonight?
It's definitely after dark for me. It's just gone past midnight, so I've got my tea in front of me. I'm good.
Yeah, that's right. You're over the pond.
Absolutely.
The sun stays up pretty late where I am, so it's not after dark or even close to dark yet.
Well, what's it? Where are you at again? Like, what section of the U.S. are you in? Central?
I am in the center of the United States of A,
Gotcha.
in a state called Oklahoma.
Oh, Oklahoma. Okay. All right. Excellent. Well, I am. Hopefully, we'll get Alec here later on. I haven't heard back from him yet, but we're going to talk about some Star Trek and Axanar in general to give any updates on that. But I do want to talk to you guys real fast about Star Trek Discovery. So far, what do you guys think about the first 3 episodes of this season?
I mean,
real quick before you start, I won't have much to add to Discovery because I won't be watching it until next year. But I'm sure I'll have things to say about Star Trek in this conversation.
I still can't believe you're doing that thing.
Oh man, it's long overdue.
Well, in that case, awooga. Spoiler alert. So if you haven't seen the first 3 episodes and you don't want to hear anything, discussion, turn off now. But
Okay, see you later. No, I'm fine. I'll forget whatever you say.
Dang it. That was my hope to get rid of you.
Them's the breaks.
But no, I've actually enjoyed the first 3 episodes so far, and I liked the callback to TNG's The Chase. I'm like, ooh, that's a nice storyline to pick up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is, and I'm glad that they did that, and that was a prediction that I had actually early on in the. It was the week before the 5th season started. Cheeto, I don't know if you remember or not, but we were talking about what we'd like to see out of season 5 of Discovery, and just kind of, offhand, I said, yeah, it would be nice if they did something like they did with The Chase, except make it more galaxy wide reaching because we have the Spore Drive and we can go more places now. And that's what they did.
Yep.
Legit. They stole your idea and then went back in time and then filmed season 5. They flew around the sun, went back a year and a half after hearing your idea. And I mean, I think we've all wanted the follow up to The Chase. And plus they really led with in a lot of the promotional material and a lot of the people promoting it where basically it's a nonstop like thrill ride chase. Like they kind of use even the word chase in some of those things. So I'm not surprised that it kind of follows up with The Chase, episode from TNG. But at the same time, I'm glad. I love expanding the lore. If any of you played Star Trek Resurgence, I love that they expanded upon the Takan Empire and everything in that game. From that just one episode of TNG. I love it when they take those nuggets and just like do something much bigger with it. Because honestly, if you don't have much there to work with, or if there's not much there, it's easy to expand upon. It's much harder
Right.
when you're trying to expand upon something where you got to fit in these like parameters of canon. So
Yeah, you're right, because you can do more with it if there's not already a whole lot that's previously been established. And Resurgence was a fun game.
Mhm.
And I certainly agree with you there, Sturm vom Alk. It was an interesting game. I like those kind of games where you can kind of choose how you handle the story and how you respond to and work with other characters in the game. I like how they had an A plot and a B plot where you have 2 stories going on, and that there is a point where they do converge. Your two different plots.
Yep. I want to, and just to respond to the comment about saying it was too short. I actually felt like it was perfect length of an adventure, like, for Star Trek.
Mhm.
I feel like if it would have drawn on a little bit longer, I feel like it would have gone into like drawn out territory. But I would love for it to be like we get shorter stories like this, but we get like more of them. You know what I mean? And I don't want Resurgence 2. I want like the sequel. I want like let's go back to Enterprise time, and do something in like not with like Scott Bakula and everything, but like with another NX. Like let's do the Columbia. Let's follow the Columbia maybe through the Romulan War or something. Let's go to the 32nd century. Let's go to more of a TOS. Like I want it to kind of jump around. I want it to be more of an anthology type series, not we're going to do sequel after sequel after sequel until people get tired of these characters and then move on. I don't mind doing a sequel to that, but I don't want it to only be that.
Right. Yeah. They can certainly go to, I think, a game centered around the Enterprise timeframe, especially the Romulan War, would be something interesting. But they seem to be putting everything, and I'm not faulting them for this, but they're putting everything into Star Trek Online, which seems to be like the leading Star Trek game. There haven't been a whole lot of others that have come out since then. There was the Star Trek game based on Star Trek 2009. There's been a couple other smaller ones. There's Bridge Crew. I know there's a Bridge Commander, but Bridge Crew was the one that was the
VR one. I played that.
One. That's right, Bridge Crew.
Yeah,
I got stuck on one mission. I was like, I don't want to go through this all over again. I played it like 3 times. I couldn't pass the level. And I'm like, I can't do it again. It's too tense in VR.
Yeah. Oh, really? You played it in VR? How was that?
Oh, it's amazing. You are on the bridge. It is absolutely incredible. I mean, you're on the JJ bridge, so there's it's very bright. It's very well lit.
I played
it's great
VR, so
yeah.
Star Trek
VR.
Infinite.
I was just saying, VR. It's a lot easier to control. You're pressing buttons and stuff as opposed to trying to use a controller.
Star Trek Infinite came out this past year, and I mean that's basically a Stellaris clone, but that's very fun. But it's it's a Stellaris clone, but it's got like all of the Star Trek bells and whistles to it, all the like tons of races in it. It's I think it's a ton of fun, and I get it that I won't fault anyone for saying, oh, it's just a Stellaris clone. It really is. It absolutely is. But at the same time, it's Star Trek with Stellaris. Like people have already made mods of that. And now we have the official thing. You know what I mean? Like, so it's a really, I like Star Trek Infinite. I know they're just selling me a mod, but you know what? I love those empire building type games like Master of Orion and like Civilization on the galactic scale. You know what I mean?
I tried playing that. I couldn't get into it.
Which one?
The Stellaris mod for Star Trek.
Did you play the original Stellaris, like the OG game?
I did. It was like I guess it just, I'm not the audience for it. I don't know what it was. It was just, I don't know.
It's not for everybody.
Right. I think it was, not to say too complex, but it's very busy. Mm-hmm. There's a lot going on there. And I think each time I tried it, I was a little more in the mindset of, I need to play a game that isn't that detailed and involved, because sometimes I like those games where you're just sitting back with the controller, like Red Dead Redemption 2. I'm playing that right now, and that one is a lot of fun.
Is it your first time?
First time playing Red Dead Redemption.
I've never
part
played
2.
Yeah, part 2.
It is
just part 2. It
is something you could really just engross yourself in. I mean, you can do almost anything in that game, and you have an entire Wild West to do it in. Lives have been lost into that game.
Oh yeah, I bet they have.
I would say I've seen people play it. The Wild West is just not my bag, really. Like, you know what I mean? I like fantasy, like Final Fantasy. I like open world and but more modern or even medieval. But like the Wild West doesn't even make, even the away missions in the original series where they went to the Wild West just turned me off. I'm like, I don't like this one. Swinging bar doors. No, we're not doing. No.
I like Worf wearing a cowboy hat. That worked for me.
Yeah. Worf in the cowboy hat. Yeah, that's great. But the thing that I like so far, and I promise people we're going to talk about Axanar, we're going to talk about Star Trek. We'd like to, talk about some of the other stuff that we enjoy doing. But I like, if you're riding your horse somewhere, you're sitting in your chair for like 10, 15 minutes trying to get somewhere just on the horse. Which I said, that's pretty good realism, but I had to save up to get fast travel because I like the idea of, playing it, being immersive in the experience, but I don't have 10 minutes to sit here on the horse riding through, trying to help a stranger and get hijacked.
Well, and you're able to auto ride, basically. You can, I think it's holding the big bar or whatever system, you hold a button and your horse will just follow the trail, whatever your destination is. Really helps because you can just set it. And then, if somebody attacks you, you got to pick up your controller. But the rest of the time you can just watch your horse, and it has cinematic views you can turn on and all kinds of stuff.
I'm playing on PC. I'm going to have to look. I might have missed if there's, what button that is or if you can do that, but that's
I'm going to guess it's holding the space bar, but I have no idea.
Okay. Yeah, I'll have to check that out.
It's a game changer, pun intended. It'll change your game.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. So what else is going on in Star Trek for you guys these days? Anything interesting?
Well, for 2024, I'm not allowed to watch any of the new stuff, but I can watch the old stuff all I want.
Why
I
is
just don't.
What is that?
I just realized after all these years with all these IPs just coming at us nonstop that I've missed out on so many smaller films and TV shows. Like, for instance, I just started watching a show called Blackbird on Apple TV. And it is so great. It's so great, but it doesn't have superheroes and giant action scenes and all that. So I decided to give 1 year to watching the smaller stuff and then come back in 2025.
And everyone, this is why Lower Decks was canceled, because people are taking breaks.
No, I did it when there was no new season on Lower Decks.
That works for me. Everybody blame JP.
And we're going to get t-shirts
It's
next
my
week.
fault.
They're all going to say, JP canceled Lower Decks.
Well, actually, I got something to say about Lower Decks either being canceled or finishing up. It seems like Paramount Plus is, and from a business point of view, I think this is a good thing, starting to consolidate their Star Trek output to maybe they're going to go to doing the way it used to be, where there's one show at a time. And when one show finishes, then they start another show, which seems like that'd be a great way to save money so you can keep making Star Trek, but not be having a budget for 5 different shows.
But here's my thing with that is that if you look at the episode counts, we are not getting more Star Trek than we did like during the DS9 and Voyager and
of course not, but we're getting bigger Star Trek.
That's fine. I agree. I think they should definitely not have any run concurrently or any overlap. It should be one after the other, even if there's time in between. It should be one Star Trek series is on at one time.
But I would be great, since if they are doing that, there should be a little bit more focus in making a few more episodes per series.
Yeah,
10 is not enough. I would say 12, 13. Give us a couple more episodes with a little bit more character development.
Let's crank it up to 15. Yeah. And Cheetah, did you mention in XO2 Columbia earlier?
Yes.
I would like to mention that ship has Seth MacFarlane on that ship as Ensign Rivers, because he transferred from Enterprise to Columbia.
Before we get too deep into the Orville with our Orville expert JP, Alec, Crystal, glad you guys were able to stop by. Thank you. How are you guys doing tonight?
Hello, everyone. Sorry, we're out at a bar, the new bar in town. We decided to go out and check it out, and so. But we're obviously leaving it in very capable hands. It's not like you guys can't talk over each other without me.
I'm actually doing this with no hands.
Yeah.
Right.
I just got a mic and a camera. I'm good.
Good. Everyone doing all right tonight?
Yeah, doing pretty good. You know, the weather is great, at least here where I'm at. Work has been pretty busy. Yeah, Star Trek is good.
Yep, I know. So it's really interesting that they renewed Star Trek Strange New Worlds, but canceled Lower Decks. That's easy. I mean, I don't know what you guys have been hearing. I mean, I saw one guy online that said that it's already Skydance trying to assert their influence over the direction of Star Trek moving forward, which I hope is true. So we'll see what happens. It's going to be interesting.
I wasn't too upset that they canceled Lower Decks for a couple reasons. One, I think a 5th season should be the new standard. I think 5 seasons of Star Trek in this modern age is just fine. There's nothing wrong with 5. I know we were used to 7 because that's what we grew up on back in the 90s. But I think 5 seasons is fine. I didn't really care too much for Lower Decks the last few seasons. It kind of lost me, and so I wasn't too upset about that one, to be honest with you.
Well, I think the novelty of the premise and the kind of shtick, it just ran its course, and I think it's, I don't have a problem with that. Was that 4 seasons they'll have had?
Yes, we've had 4.
And I don't think that's bad. I mean, there's only so many jokes you can tell within the Star Trek universe.
They've gone so there's so many deep cuts in that show. They might have just run out of deep cuts.
That's all it was. It was a reference show. That's the problem I had with it. It was just one big reference show. The entire premise was how much prior Star Trek can we mention an Easter egg in here, and occasionally have an actual story, but it ran its course. It seemed like it just ran out of its own idea. And it lost.
Yeah, so no, it's all good. And, it's good that they're giving Star Trek Strange New Worlds another season. That's all good. Everyone loves that show. But it will be interesting to see if Skydance completes the sale, that whole thing, which is still up in the air. But what happens with Kurtzman, what happens with Starfleet Academy and everything. So I can easily see Starfleet Academy being a very short run show. I mean, it could get 1 season and that's it.
I hope it's not just one. A little more would be good. But
at this point, it probably will depend on the audience because Paramount brought back Star Trek just to try to launch a streaming service. And now they got a lot of other content on that streaming service, so they don't need as much Star Trek as they did at the beginning.
All right, guys, we're going to get back to date night here. You guys have fun.
Thanks, Alec. You guys enjoy.
Date.
You guys enjoy your date night. All right, take care.
Bye.
That's got to be fun. I want to go out on a date night.
No, you are on the internet right now, good sir.
I thought this was date night
before.
Yeah.
So I do.
This is our date night. This is nerd guys.
I look forward to this all week.
Yeah.
Man, I do so many podcasts during the week. I'm like, I love doing the Trek centric ones the most, but I'm like,
I thought we were exclusive.
No, sorry.
For our date.
If you go over to NerdTube, you can see all of the content over there that shameless self plug, baby.
Just a shout out to Mark Lawrence. Thank you for the $5 super chat.
Yeah, thank you, Mark Lawrence.
Mark's a great guy.
Yep, Mark. But what I was going to say was, I mean, I understand everybody talking about the quality quality better than quantity, but again, we're only getting 10 episodes a season, and I'm not saying like bloat it like to 26. I agree with JP where it's like
15 would be about right.
Yeah, like 12 to 15.
That feels good.
I think it's achievable. I mean, look what they're doing in other series not Star Trek related. They're basically filming them like a big massive movie, which can become that's how they're getting the movie stars involved in these shows, like Schwarzenegger in Fubar. It's just filmed as one big movie, and then you just cut it up.
Yeah, but that doesn't lend itself well to Star Trek. We found that out with Discovery. I think.
I suppose. Well, if you write it properly.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I'm not totally upset that Discovery is ending, only because I think that there are still a lot of Discovery-isms, what I call them, in the show. And not that this is the actor's fault, but I mean, there's way too much focus on one character, which is, and they've done better the past couple seasons, but it's still the Burnham show. And we talk about this on our reviews. Is who's going to go down to the planet? Let's send the two highest ranking people on the ship, the two captains, Saru and Burnham, down to the planet. Like, I understand maybe sending the first officer, but it's like, why, those are the Discovery-isms where they're like, they don't think through like an away team. They don't think through like what is practical. It's like, no, which stars should we put here so they can have their moment? And honestly, I feel like that like what Discovery is basically had is it stifled all of that character development that you can have like out of nowhere. Like, because I feel like you go into TNG and DS9 and Voyager and it's like these characters, like I think they stumbled upon some of these great character arcs for some of these people that, like, while they were writing. I don't think they went into it like, oh, we're going to give Tom Paris, I'm using an example, but this great arc, or even Nog, this is the one I love using. I don't think they wrote him in episode 1 to be this real big overarching character. That, I mean, Garrick is the perfect example. He was supposed to be in one episode and he became one of the crutches to that show. That's why it's like, I feel like if you just always have like the biggest actors and actresses on the screen, you're going to miss out on all those little nuanced characters. Kind of like Discovery from the get-go, it was always advertised as it's not going to be a spaceship show. It's not going to be the crew show. It's going to be about a single character, and that's exactly what it's been. It's all been about Burnham, and no matter what she does, she always ends up in the center seat.
Yeah, I mean, all the different Star Treks, they're playing around with different formats for each show. At least that was the initial plan. I don't know if they were able to get they weren't able to get away from that original format with Discovery. But I think they're really going more for a drama with that show as opposed to a space adventure.
There's something I wanted to talk about before I get us a little bit caught up on some of the comments, because there's certainly some comments that I had on some of the things you guys have said. The first one I highlighted for a little bit came from who was it? Let me use Reds, Tillers, and more, about not liking what Strange New Worlds did with the Gorn. I love it. Here's the problem, though. I completely agree with you, Red, on that. The way they're doing the Gorn in Strange New Worlds is a problem because it makes the arena a lot more complicated than it needs to be. Because now what you're trying to do is you're trying to say, okay, here's the Gorn, the way that they were depicted in the Enterprise episode In a Mirror Darkly, and you kind of feed off of that and make them, I guess, more Gorn, more reptilian, more like dangerous alligator, like whatever it is. But here's the problem. We know that in about 10 years from where Strange New Worlds is at right now, that Kirk goes hand to hand with the Gorn on a planet. And don't give me any of that. The Gorn sends some old fogey that couldn't hardly move or was close to retirement or whatever. No, we should not have to go back and try to help retcon some explanation because you went crazy with a redepiction of something. And that's the problem, is if you want them to look more realistic or more what you would think Gorn would look like, great. But you can't have us knowing that a human is going to go hand-to-hand fist fight with one of these things and win the fight by, sure, creating a makeshift cannon, but still there was the big bear hugging and the Kirk chops and the kicks and all that. You made it a little bit very unrealistic to expect us to go from what you're showing in Strange New Worlds to saying, oh, well, yeah, no problem. Kirk fights one of these guys and he lives.
Actually doesn't bug me all that much. The original series is a product of its time, and I respect that. And I'm willing to suspend my belief in Strange New Worlds because they're doing something more modern and more up to date. I get what you're saying, but like I mean, you know,
I love modern and up to date. It's just that
it could be a different it could be a different cast.
No,
look at the Xindi.
Not doing it.
It's in universe, whether you like it or not. It's in universe. A race can have several different subspecies.
I can't give you that one. Not one that's like so much weaker and more human.
Well, it could be that 10 years from now, the Gorn were starting to splice genetics, trying to mix with humans to try to figure them out or something like that.
JP is about to get banned. Where's my hammer? Where's my band hammer?
That's all right. I'll just go to sleep. That's fine.
Stephen Ross, thank you very much for your contribution there. Skydance needs to hire Alec to do Star Trek Legacy. Wouldn't that be something? That would be awesome.
Honestly, no, I don't agree. I think they need to bring Alec in to do something in the TOS era. I really do. Like, I feel like that he would do something great in the TOS era. I feel like that's where he thrives at. Not that I've seen anything that he's done in like the modern era stuff, and I'm sure he'd be fine. But like, I love what he is doing with like the pre-TOS like that, or give him the Lost era. Give him room to play, because with Legacy, you kind of have some of these haranguements of Picard and all these other things, Lower Decks and Prodigy. I know that Picard takes place several years after those two, but I really feel like give him something like the Lost era, where he has a whole wide universe to kind of play with. And I would love the Lost era Star Trek.
Wouldn't that just be something? How many heads would spin if there was a turn of events like that?
We're getting Rachel Garrett in Section 31. There's already been speculation of a Lost Years anthology series. Now, I don't think that's true, but like everybody's already speculating, like, oh, they're gearing up for Rachel Garrett. They're trying to get everybody to know who Rachel Garrett is because we're going to follow the Enterprise C.
Right.
You guys, I just want season 5 of Enterprise. That's all I want. They'll never give it to me.
No, unfortunately, we'll never get that season 5 of Enterprise. It'd be nice, but
no, we'll never get that. No. That's not all the crew. It's 20 years ago. The crew they've aged too much now. They've aged out of those roles.
Yeah, that's why I want a Birth of the Federation series where it takes place 10 years after the Federation Accords were signed, and you have President Archer trying to bring races in. And me and Jefferson have had this conversation before. He doesn't want it. I want it.
Well,
I just want Trip to be okay. That was just a holographic story. The computer told the story told Riker a story that he needed to hear, not necessarily what actually happened.
I just think a Star Trek version of the West Wing is a tough bite to take, and they're doing some of that in this season of Discovery, which is interesting, sure. And I don't know if that's kind of, let's play in the waters a little bit to see if we can go in the kind of political intrigue route of Star Trek, which would be new. That would be different, admittedly. And I'd watch it. So maybe that's what they're doing here. Maybe not. I'm probably reading too much into it, but it would be an experiment, just like with trying to do animated Star Trek again with that. But
experiments are tough to get with streaming services these days, because they want something that they consider to be a slam dunk, even in their minds. Not necessarily that it will be, but they think it will be. And an experiment is scary to them because then they might lose money.
Even though they get monthly subscriptions every month.
Yeah.
Oh, people cancel those subscriptions all the time.
I cancel the day that Star Trek goes off of. Did we talk about this last week? I don't remember.
Yep.
Okay, yeah.
Right at the end. Right at the end. Yep.
Right at the end. Right when there's no more Trek the following week, I cancel my subscription. I've got all of my Blu-rays and DVDs. I can watch all the old stuff whenever I want. But I want them to know I'm not watching anything on Paramount unless there's new Trek.
Yeah, you can watch Pluto TV, which is free has an entire Star Trek channel that's usually playing TNG, DS9, Voyager, 24/7.
Put Axanar on there. Have an Axanar segment on Pluto TV.
I'm sure Pluto TV is probably easy to get a channel on if you have content. You just call and say, "Hey, I got content. Can I have a channel?" Sure thing.
a fan film section on Pluto TV.
Mm-hmm.
That might be the way to go to start off.
Yeah, it could work. It could work. Who knows?
But a few heads would be spinning on shoulders.
Yes, yes, there would be lots of head spinning for sure.
I like Brian Simpson's reboot UPN.
Oh God, no.
Yeah. UPN. That's what I watched Enterprise on.
Oh,
that's what
I
remember that. There used to be a one-day Trek convention over here. I think it was the last Sunday or the first Sunday of each month, where someone would send over a VHS tape. Yes, VHS tape of the latest DS9 and the latest Voyager, because it was about 2-3 years before we got it here on Sky TV, satellite. And it was always the UPN logo spinning away, and that takes me back. Wednesday night on UPN.
Yeah, UPN.
Yep.
I want to say that Enterprise over here came on Sunday nights. I can't remember.
No, I think it was like Wednesday originally and went to Fridays at the end. Because
that feels right too.
Once the new director came in for CBS, who hated Star Trek, he shifted it to the graveyard shift to make the ratings go down, so he could go cancel it. No one's watching it.
Yeah,
right. Bring in someone to run your company that thoroughly dislikes your main cash cow.
Yeah,
it happened to the BBC back in the 80s as well. The new director general came into the BBC. He loathed Doctor Who with a passion. So the first thing he did was, see that janky sci-fi show, cancel it right now.
How do you get the job when, I mean, at some point you have to let it be known that you feel that way. It shouldn't have been a surprise that, oh my God, this guy interviewed great, but now that he's got the job, he wants to cancel Doctor Who.
Oh, there's no such thing as an interview with the BBC. It's the old man's club.
Yeah, but Doctor Who's an old show. Like, it's been on forever.
It's like a staple forever. Over there.
Absolutely, and it's come back. It's gone bad now. It's Disney have got their hooks into it now, so it's
Oh, Disney's got hold of Doctor Who.
They've got their hooks into. They're co-producing or something like that. Anyway, there's some influence in there, and you can tell.
I did not know.
Suddenly he goes into a musical number. Off. I've not watched it since.
I just think that's crazy that you can bring in someone to run your organization and their first act is they want to get rid of you.
Oh, that's thing. Studios. That's been studios since day one.
I was about to say, because just because somebody comes in and they act like they know what they're doing does not mean they know what they're doing. They can just spin it right.
Yeah. I mean, look at what's happening with all over the place. People come in, say, I can do a good job, and no.
It's like when you lie on your resume about being proficient with Excel.
Yeah.
Chapek or whatever his name is in Disney. I mean, like, he took over for Bob Iger. Bob Chapek did, and he did a terrible job.
Mm-hmm.
And and now Bob Iger's already back, and
and he seems to be doubling down for some reason.
Doubling down on what?
On the rubbish. To just taking beloved characters and swapping them for the sake of swapping them, and then taking all the old animated stuff and making live action stuff out of it, which no one really wants. They're losing money hand over fist, but Lucasfilm seems to be keeping them afloat. $12 billion, I think, last year.
Which is really weird because Lucasfilm hasn't put out anything that I've liked except Andor in the past 5 years.
But liking it or not, everybody watches it. Yes, making that money.
Seems a lot of people watch it.
If they watch it, that's what
it
matters.
Doesn't matter if they like it or not. Yeah, it just matters if they watch it and pay for it.
Mm-hmm.
You can watch it and not like it, but you're still watching it.
Yeah,
and that's what counts.
I forced myself to watch Lower Decks. I wasn't really enjoying it. I always liked the little the little hints to the lore and stuff like that. I appreciated that, but I don't find it anywhere as funny as people make it out to be. I laughed about 6 or 7 times throughout all the seasons so far.
It got old.
Genuinely barely laughed about 6 or 7 times throughout the entire seasons.
I really love Lower Decks. It's probably my second favorite Trek next to Deep Space Nine. So
remove Cheeto from the live stream now.
That's fine. You go right. You go right on ahead, Kumquat. I'll just go watch some lower. I'll just go watch some Lower Decks.
Watch it while you can, because
I own the physical media. Everybody.
Oh wow, there you go.
Yeah, I own the physical media of Strange New Worlds, Discovery, Picard. I own physical media because I do not like digital media only because it's a nice convenience. But at the same time, as we've seen, like with Prodigy, they can snap it away like Thanos.
Yeah, all these streaming services have been doing that with tons of original content. All of a sudden, one show will end up on another streaming service, and then that's gone, and it's back where it was or somewhere else. It's just I can never remember what show is on what streaming service because they're being jumbled around all the time.
Well, I have this great idea. How about we take one like base program, okay, and then we put all of the streaming services on us. Then you have a remote where you can, change between streaming services to find what you're looking for, but it has everything right in front of you. I think I'm going to call it K-Ball.
Oh wow, that's too extreme of an idea. There's probably chords involved.
Yeah. There's chords and stuff. Oh man, the greatest chords. Even these K-Balls are going to, it'll revolutionize modern watching of television.
Well, even on like say, and you can hardly trust some of these services. Like I have Amazon Fire TV. And, you can I have a little voice button. You say, hey, I'm looking for this movie or that movie. And it'll tell you how to buy it. And I'm like, wait a minute. Isn't that movie available on Hulu? And so I got Hulu and it's right there. I'm like, why didn't Fire TV tell me that? Usually, a lot of times they'll tell you, it's available on this service or that service. But they don't always do that. They give you pay options instead.
That's shady.
Yeah. I'm like, you used to tell me. Now you're telling me to rent it or buy it for way too much money.
Yeah.
Damn you.
We're watching all these ads now in streaming. We're basically back to what it was like having cable.
Yeah.
No, it's called K-Ball.
Oh, that's right, K-Ball.
Yeah, K-Ball.
I had Cobley back in the day.
Cobley is a good one.
That's the old one though. That's that was before cable.
Yeah, that's how Chipotle learned to pronounce their name.
Chipotle.
Yeah, Chipotle. It's good enough for Aristotle. It's good enough for them.
I can't.
I know so many people that call it Chipotle, and I'm like, no, it's Chipotle.
Do they even have that over there?
Okay. It's a recipe for certain dishes, Chipotle, but it's Chipotle style. But there's not a restaurant or anything like that called Chipotle here.
I hate Chipotle aftertaste. Like anything Chipotle just tastes awful.
I hate spicy food, so.
All right, kick Alexander off the stream.
Who's going to be left?
No, we'll just do rotations. It's like musical chairs, but we only have 3 people on at one time, and then when one person earns their way off, the other person can come back in,
and kick Big J. That's it. Everybody's just staring at a blank screen at this point.
Right. There's nobody left.
They'll still show up and be like, what? No Alec?
Apparently, there's a Chipotle in London. I stand corrected. Well, sit corrected.
There's a Chipotle in London. Okay.
Yeah, but I
sounds like a great first line of a short story. There's a Chipotle in London.
Yeah, I avoid London like the plague.
Oh, actually, that's one of my cohorts over on NerdTube. He actually cabbies in London, so he's very well versed in the London landscape. Cityscape. Let's do cityscape.
Okay. I've never. I'd like to go visit Europe someday. Like go to Germany, UK, all that stuff. But there was something I was listening to online that was I think it was a stand-up comedy bit or something like that. It was about how Americans don't leave the country to go on vacation. There's really no reason to, because this country is so large that going to different states is almost like going to different countries.
Yeah.
Especially the further away you go from where you're at. Here, if you drive, say, like an hour and a half somewhere, if you're in Europe, you could have crossed over 2 countries doing that. Whereas, like, that's our morning commute, just to try to get to work. So there's a whole lot in here to be able to look at. It's like there's no reason to go somewhere where they drive on the incorrect side of the road just to say you visited.
Or you can just go to Cincinnati and then just, never make your way out. I mean,
Yeah.
turn right at the banjo music.
Damn Ohio!
Stumbleruck says there are 17 Chipotle locations in London.
17?
Yeah.
In London?
Well, if you're going to have them, London's the place to have them.
It would appear so.
I like Brian's comment. He says, Europe sucks. It's full of Europeans. Right on. You know what? Normally I am stuck on podcasts with a bunch of European British people. It's good to have a good old mostly American podcast this time.
Yeah. That's why we have to do Axanar at dusk. So we have time for Alexander to be able to make it on, who's like, 9 hours ahead of civilized world.
Hey, the civilized world is 9 hours ahead of America. I can break a leg and don't go bankrupt for it.
Oh man, he's fighting dirty now. That's you know where to hit us.
Maybe not for long though. The incumbent government over here are drastically underfunding our health service, so that
Alexander, tomorrow for everything. On Friday, you should stop over at our World's Gone Insane podcast, because we our London gents like to chat like all sorts of just politics, and that's our like no holds barred podcast where it's like we talk about everything, and they always get into politics and European politics and American politics. It is a freak show over there. You should check it out sometime. I think you'd have a ball.
Send me the link and I'll go and have a look.
Okay.
Brian Simpson, America. Yeah.
America.
Like yeah.
That's what me and last time I went, I was visiting. I was in Atlanta for DragonCon with a good friend of mine, and we just spent the whole entire DragonCon going, America, F yeah.
Before we run out of time, because I don't know how long this conversation will go. I want to say, can we talk about? It's not Star Trek, but can we talk about Fallout? The Fallout series on Amazon Prime.
Well,
I've not watched it yet, but go ahead.
Are you worried about us getting criticized for not talking about enough Star Trek? And what happens if we end early or abruptly? We can't do that.
Indeed. I mean,
can you guys detect the sarcasm in my voice? Is it just me? Am I not humorous?
No, I don't see
or
any.
Funny?
You're clearly scared.
Okay.
I mean, you can see the sweat pouring down your brow and everything,
Actually, you know what? Okay, before I get criticized about that, it is actually hot in this room. So I am a little sweating. And I'm not sweating because I'm afraid that CBS is going to come knocking down my door. Yeah, well, I've got the 2 lights that I use to light my green screen on me. It's kind of hot in this room. So
you should run a diagnostic on your life support.
I don't want to see any Big J was sweating because he whatever.
The lawyer was going to get us.
Yeah.
Well, then the lawyers get all the information.
We're incriminating ourselves by talking about things.
Right.
Who knew?
Oh, he's had a boot. Get him.
Well, hey, with the new hate crime laws here in Scotland, talking about anything could probably get you in jail these days. So
wow, they're just locking it down in Scotland.
Yeah, even in your own home, you're not allowed to talk about taboo subjects.
Yeah, let's talk about Fallout. I binged that first season just this past weekend with my fiance. It was good. I liked it.
Yeah, I loved it because I was a fan of the game universe. I played the heck out of Fallout 4, and I just watching the series I was like, oh man, this Fallout show is actually Fallout. It feels like it. It looks like it. I mean, there's really don't need to spoil anything, but I just thought the acting, the humor and action and drama was just awesome for me.
It was. I really liked how it had that Fallout aesthetic with the scenery, the music. I like how it's. I was trying to think of a good way to describe this to my fiance. It's almost as if our technology continued to advance, but we were stuck in the 60s.
Yeah.
Yeah, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and also I've thought about it as...
Is it 50s? Is it drawing from 50s, like early 60s?
50s, early 60s type. It's probably the whole shabam. And I always thought with Fallout that like it's a post-apocalyptic world that comes from a world that never really existed in our history. Mm-hmm. Or maybe it's like the 50s and 60s became popular again at some point in the future.
Right. It's like a futuristic 50s.
Or maybe it's like steampunk, but fusion punk.
That's
probably like an alternate.
It's another timeline.
Yeah.
See, I've never even played the game, but I've got friends who have played the game, and even I knew that's what it's all about. Yeah,
it's a very well realized world, and it seems like they really brought it to life in the live action series.
For anyone, and I'm not trying to like be a shill for Amazon, but I was going to actually buy Fallout 76, and I was looking at reviews on Steam, and one of the top comments was it's currently free on Amazon Gaming. So I said, holy shit, because I subscribe to Amazon Prime. So I got Fallout 76. And I got back into Fallout Shelter. I forgot that I had a Fallout Shelter game on Steam. Mm-hmm. I hadn't logged into my vault in like forever. So yeah, it's gotten me back into the games. And when I'm done with Red Dead Redemption 2,
you won't be done.
Never be done. Well, because I want to do Fallout 76. But here's my problem. The thing is with me, I can't play a lot of different games at once. It depends on what it is. Like right now, I'm playing a controller game with RDR2. Mm-hmm. I can't play another controller game at the same time. I can do a game that's mouse and keyboard or something on the phone. But if I get to where, for example, if I try to do GTA 5 and RDR2, I'm alternating playing those. It gets sloppy because the controls are all different. And it's like, I can't be very good on both. I have to do one, focus on it. And then
you have to like keep map the controller for the different games.
No, it's just that the buttons do different things in different games, just like anything else.
Yeah.
And that's the thing is it's like my brain can train itself to be real good at a game. And then when I'm done with it, I can move on and be good at the next one. But then when I come back to
you forget what the buttons do and all that, and your brain isn't caught up again.
I have to relearn that muscle memory to get back to it. So that's why I focus on that one, one at a time.
Yeah. When it comes to any Rockstar games, I always can jump right in because their controls are pretty much very similar on all of their games. But yeah, if it's something like if I jump from like a Rockstar game to one of the Lara Croft games, I'm like, I can't remember what any of these buttons do. How do I crouch?
Yeah, you brought up a good point that I should clarify. It's not that I couldn't do Red Dead Redemption 2 and GTA 5 at the same time because you're right, they're both Rockstar games. They have very similar controller schemes. But if I were to try to go back to play Monster Hunter World right now, I would suck for a while because I just my
same way.
My muscle memory is not with that game, and then once I regain that, then I've lost it for RDR2. So it's like I can only have controller muscle memory for one game at a time.
Yeah,
I totally get it.
I get it.
Yeah.
It's the same for me. I play exclusively Steam on the PC, so it's like things like 7 Days to Die, and then I might play a little bit of Halo Master Chief Collection. and the controls are, Aswad is Aswad, or always will be. But how to change weapons and everything is completely different. How to crouch is different, and it takes me a while to get into it. So I'm reloading in the enemy's face quite a lot when I switch from one to another. I want to switch to another weapon, but I end up reloading in their face. I was like, no, that wasn't really helpful.
Well, does your brain have any muscle memory problems when you're switching from one Star Trek show to another Star Trek show?
No, not really.
You just go right into it.
That's
pretty
different.
much. I don't understand how, but yeah.
Yeah. So I'm always comfortable going to any of what I've been calling the legacy Star Trek for a few years now, which is all 90s and 2005 Trek. They all have a similar build, a similar tone. So I'm able to mix up any of the episodes from any of those shows.
Oh yeah, I can. I've got, because here in the UK we've got all the Star Trek on Netflix apart from the new shows. So I can jump into a DS9 or a Voyager or an Enterprise or a TNG, depending on what my mood takes me. And it remembers. Obviously, Netflix remembers where you were, so I just hit continue play, and wherever I'm at, I continue. And I know. I've watched it that many times. I know the episodes anyway. So as soon as I've seen the first couple of seconds, I'm like, "Oh, okay, it's that episode."
Those shows are like comfort food at this point.
Yeah. So, I don't have a problem jumping around the shows. What
about the new Star Trek stuff? Because every show is a different type of format, pretty much.
Yeah, I don't have too much of a problem. Sometimes, if I go back to something that I've not seen for a while, I might forget a little bit. Like, what was that? And I'll watch the recap, which I usually skip. No, I'll get there. It's fine. It takes me a minute, but I'm fine.
You remember how to crouch. That's good.
Don't reload in their face.
Yeah, that's right. That's something they'd probably do in Enterprise. People are getting pretty touchy-feely on that show.
Just want to William Wells. Yes, this is Breath of Fire behind me somewhere. Right here. Breath of Fire 3. I have 4, 1 and 2, and also now I am playing currently Breath of Fire 5. I'm not going to get it down, but I have it up here. But I'm doing that on my gaming channel called Motos Gaming. Shameless self-plug!
Yay!
Hey!
And Cheeto, I want to say I like your Funko Pops.
Thank you so much.
There may be critics out there that don't think a grown man should have Funko Pops, but we all have our collectibles and we all have our things that we like to
when they told me I couldn't
with.
keep collecting my ex-girlfriends in the basement, I just had to move on to something else. So.
Let's go to Funko. I do have one. I mean, I have a couple Funkos in a box somewhere, but I do have one prized Funko, and that is Ron Swanson in a kimono with cornrows. Funko, and I love it so much.
See what they missed a trick there. We needed Ron Swanson in his circular discs, which you can spin.
Oh yeah. His I can't remember what country. So was it Sweden that designed that, and Chris Traeger was making. Well, we're not talking Parks and Rec, but Chris Traeger made him do that.
That's funny. Well, as we get close to our hour, and an hour is where a natural ending is an hour is usually about where we like to go. So I am slowly, methodically meandering, not quick or in a hurry or abruptly ending the live stream. But we are approaching that hour time where we'd like to start wrapping up and do other. Alexander, why are you laughing? Just because you're in another country doesn't mean that I can't reach you and I can't get to you. I will send people there. You're not safe in the UK.
And the stream is getting too much. Abort.
I'm just waiting for the proverbial hook to come from stage left.
Yeah, you got to work on that effect.
Just to explain why Jeff is saying all these things. Big J. Sorry, I keep on wanting to say you. Is it Jeff? Big J? I don't know.
You call me Big J, Jefferson. Jeff is just too short. That's like there are too many Jeffs out in the world.
The
I'm going to call you JK LMNOP.
The big man to my right here. He last week we ended the stream perfectly normally. We wrapped up, but some of the haters said that we were chased away by some fake guy who tried to pretend to be a lawyer.
No, we've always done an hour.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've always done an hour, give or take a couple of minutes.
Well, it was the little bit less than an hour, and then I guess my failing at sarcasm that did it.
Yeah.
So,
I think it's their failure to understand sarcasm.
Oh.
Yeah, it's not always you, Jefferson. Remember,
It's not me.
You, it's them.
I want to make sure it's not me.
It definitely wasn't you.
Okay, because I was going around thinking to myself, am I just not funny? I mean, you know, and be honest, tell me in the comments, Big J, you're not that humorous. You know, you might think you're using the sarcasm voice or you're having fun or whatever, but we don't get it. We think you're being serious all the time. Maybe I need to take some comments.
You got to use the wink emoji more.
The wink emoji.
Yeah.
Is there something I can hold up with like emojis or ooh, that's weird.
Well, not that.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool.
Maybe
Yeah,
the
no,
backside.
It's a green notebook.
There you go.
It's a window to another world.
Have you watched The Big Bang Theory?
Yes.
You know
Yeah.
when Leonard holds up the sarcasm sign?
Yeah.
Just do that.
Okay.
Sarcasm.
I will make a
Or-
sarcasm sign.
Or you can just make a quick little video that like goes sarcasm alert or something like that.
Yeah.
You know, like
Whatever you do, just make the sarcasm sign sarcastic.
yeah, that's the important part.
Yeah.
And
And
use
use
a
it
sarcastic font.
sarcastically.
And I think my shirt is fitting better, or at least this one than the one I was wearing. See, here's the problem, folks. If you see me in a shirt that looks like it's just something I threw on or whatever, I've lost a lot of weight over the last several months. Thank you. I'm down 100 pounds since middle of December.
Wow. Congrats.
I got the gastric sleeve done in January. So the pre-op diet and then all through that. So, which lost a lot faster than I thought was going to happen. And the problem with that, with that weight loss is the clothes
Nothing
don't
fits
lie.
anymore.
Stuff starts to not fit. Yeah. I had to switch out pants, because I had pants that just, all right, these are too big now. Now it's time to bring up the smaller ones. And, shirts are a little bigger. The good thing is there's some of the uniforms that I have, they fit, I can zip them up all the way and all of that. So yeah, unfortunately the weight loss has made some of the clothing I might wear look a little too big, and that is why. And it's it's a lot of money to rebuy.
You just got to start washing them with
wardrobe.
really hot water.
Is it hot water that will shrink stuff? Okay.
Hot water and hot dryer. You can't go wrong if you try both.
You're supposed to wash your clothes?
Cheeto here never wears the same thing twice.
No, I do. I do. I have
He's
a lot
in
of
the fast fashion.
But it's been and thank you very much, Sentai Ranger Donnie. It's been a great experience. I've really liked it. It was something I had to do. I was at that point where any attempts at dieting that I tried to do just weren't working, and portion control was my biggest enemy. It was just you could be doing well and then get something in front of you that you really like, and it's just your brain. Even now, because with the gastric sleeve, they cut off 75% of your stomach. I mean, it's much smaller. You physically cannot eat that much at one time. If you do, it's coming right back. And so if you do
Second dinner.
yeah. So like if you do get a craving, you're like, hey, I really like this. I'm going to eat this much of it.
20 chicken nuggets.
Yeah. Yeah. And if you love chicken nuggets and you can only fit 4, but your brain tells you this is so good, then I want to have 6 or 8. Those last ones after the 4 you can take, you're going to see them again. So it's like there is literally a deterrent for those times where you get those, like, I've had it like, damn it, I'm going to have this slice of pizza. I'm going to have 2 because I like it. And then I don't want to get too graphic, but
it's easy. It's easy. It's easy done. I lost what 30 pounds on my work up to getting to DragonCon last year, but purely because I didn't want to sweat too much.
Right.
Atlanta is a very easy place to sweat.
Hotlanta, it's called for good reason. And when you're in a Trek costume as well, it's just a sweat box.
They don't breathe. Those uniforms.
Apart from one, it's made of cotton and it's a TNG costume. I've always wanted one. I finally found one that fitted. If I slimmed down a little bit, it fitted even better, and it breathed. And all I did is I just stopped eating just because it was there. As soon as I felt full, that was it.
You'd be surprised how hard that is.
It's very hard, but I got into the habit, and I also kept my fridge and cupboard bare of anything that didn't needed some preparation and cooking. So you can just snack.
Good.
Sturm, this is no joke, but one hot dog, no bun, and like I'd be done. It's pitiful. It's a shame. It's like, oh my God, I'm eating like a bird. And the thing is that I'm sure what I'm consuming now is the normal portion, but I'm so not used to that because, I used to do that of a portion. And if normal is this, it seems kind of weird that it's an adjustment. It really is. It just takes a lot of getting used to. But
we've had a society for decades and decades training all of us to get that easy, quick food and have a lot of it. There's a lot of it there.
Yeah, we've got the same problems here as well. The fast food is cheaper than the healthy stuff. Although it's starting to reverse because McDonald's has lost their way.
I like Taco Bell. Like I cannot go to like it's me and two kids. Like, and my kids don't eat a ton, and I don't eat a ton at Taco Bell either. $15 minimum. And I'm like, I get two of these like flatbread things that are like $2.50 a piece. My son gets 3 soft tacos, and my daughter will get a quesadilla. Like we don't even get extras. Like we have the sour cream at home. $15. I kid you not.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And I'm like, how? Like the bag is half. It's like a chip bag. Like you got like most of it on the bottom, and it's like there's just air. And you're like, I paid $15 for all this.
Yeah, $15 probably wouldn't even cover my meal at McDonald's. And I'm not talking about adding stuff, just the meal as it comes.
I found out last month, I found out how to get on the McDonald's app, how to get 30 chicken nuggets for $5.99.
Holy shit.
There was a BOGO thing going on, and it's not going on anymore, but there was a BOGO thing going on, but it wasn't included in the sales or in the deals. So you got the BOGO. If you got one 10-piece nugget, you got a second 10-piece nugget for $1. Then in the deals, there was a spend more than $3 and you get a free 10-piece nugget. Wow. So like I literally had 3 days. I do like 10 nuggets at a time. I had 3 days worth of nuggets for $5.99.
In America.
Well, Jefferson just wants the one piece.
Yeah, he wants the 1-piece nugget.
Can I get a 1-piece McNugget?
Or you can just get a 6-piece and it'll last them all week.
Oh, there you go. Be yummy on that 6th day.
Reheated chicken nuggets. I'm not sure about that.
And they're all right if you warm them up in the oven.
Yeah. Well, guys, everyone, thank you so much. We have veered so far away from not only Star Trek but Axanar, where we're talking about weight loss and all of those things. So thanks for indulging us.
And I'm sure replicators replicate fast food sometimes.
Why are you starting a new topic? I'm trying to get us out of here.
That's abruptly. An outie topic. That's something to think on. One to grow on.
I'm trying to end the live stream abruptly, and you are preventing me from doing that.
1 million strong when you say goodbye
on the phone, and then you start asking new questions. Here's what I'm going to do.
Why is he trying to end date night so early? He must not love us anymore.
This is how I'm going to end it. So this is how you do it in the Midwest. So, Alexander, in the Midwest in the U.S., the way you end a conversation and get someone to go home is you slap your knees, at your thighs, and stand up and say, well.
So, that is exactly what they do in Germany as well. They go, so.
Yeah.
They're getting up. Yep. That's exactly how you do it. Yep.
All right, everyone.
Here go ciao.
What?
Here we just go ciao or cheerio.
ciao, cheerio, or get the hell out. All right, bye everyone.
Or
Live
jog
long and
off.
prosper.